Well, hello everybody. It is Film Juice again. We are Mike and hello John.
What's up?
And we are going to talk about episode 2 of Moon Knight, which is titled I don't know what. What is it titled? The Friendly Type. No, wait, that's the third one. This is all going to be edited out. Summon the suit. All right. Let's see. Oh yeah. Okay, so what were like just briefly what were your thoughts on the first episode? Cuz I missed you on the first one.
That's right. My original thoughts were, I'd say I was kind of bored, honestly,
Mhm.
and I was uninterested. I liked the lead actor. I've seen him in other things. He did a really good job in, and um, so I was excited to see him in this. I just his character seemed a little out of place. Um, he had a very timid, like almost like a Schmeagle
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings, type of voice and high pitched voice. Hey, hey,
I
oi, oi.
lost my contact.
Yeah, exactly. And then he's talking to like a street performer who just doesn't talk and but he's a good looking guy, but he's never he just can't seem he doesn't have any relationships, doesn't hold any relationships. And but I will say that everything that was going on to him, was very much a mystery, and that was very apparent from the beginning. And so that that kept me interested. That kept me interested. Like, okay, well, they're obviously showing that something's, things aren't right here. Something's going on, and I want to see. I'll watch the next episode to see,
Okay.
and that's kind of my general feelings about the first one.
So, yeah, you weren't totally into it, but you were ready for something else. And the second episode is something else. I mean, it
Mhm.
pretty much like greatly expands on everything that was. I saw the first episode after seeing the second one. I saw the first episode as kind of a teaser, because you're introduced to all these things. You're introduced to the Egyptian, the that pantheon of gods or whatever. I know pantheon is a Greek term. Um, and then you've got Khonshu and you've got Arthur Harrow doing this weird thing with the little tattoo on his arm. Um, so you've got all these like weird pieces in place that you don't know where exactly they're going to go until like the very end when he fights that giant jackal creature thing. Um, and episode 2 picks up right after that. So like he's back to work the next day. And he watches a security tape and it's obviously him and they offer him, they're like, here's some help but you're fired. um um
Right.
I did like that they like in that scene when he was fired that he takes off his name tag that says Steven. That was a nice little bit of visual metaphor, like well, the last bit of his identity is now gone because he's like in too deep now.
Mm-hmm.
um and then he uses that key finally to go find his storage unit. He finds that the duffel bag full of stuff, including the scarab that Arthur Harrow was talking about, which I still don't know what the hell it is. Do you have any clue? I mean, I know you don't know comics. I don't know this comic, so we're in the same boat.
There, he's the scarab.
Yeah, the scarab. You know how it like floated up and like started pointing in a specific direction.
That's right. No, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I don't know. It's apparently like it belongs to the goddess Amet, the two-headed crocodile lady
Mm.
or whatever Arthur Harrow's cane is supposed to be. Um,
Yeah, and she
And
wanted Ethan Hawke was tasked to bring that back to her.
right, he wants to resurrect her.
That's
Um, he wants to resurrect the that
her hero.
that ideal of like precognitive judgment where it's like I see you're gonna do evil, so you're dead
Hmm.
without giving the person a chance. Um,
And the god that Moon Knight is working for and really
he
enslaved to,
yes,
that we find out in the second episode. What's the name of that one again?
Khonshu.
Khonshu. Yeah.
Yeah, he's he deals he deals in justice. Like if you did wrong, then you've done wrong. Now you deserve to be, punished.
Punished. Yeah.
Um, Whereas Amit, I mean, I kind of see Arthur Harrow's point of view. I think that was interesting at the end of the first one that they clarified that he is seeking to like completely completely discourage any evil ever and just do things his own way, or rather Amit's way. You can kind of see there's something novel in that where he wants to undo evil before evil even happens.
Right. It's like the overprotective parent in some ways.
Yeah, the helicopter parent.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like keep keep them from doing anything wrong, and
And therefore they'll never do anything wrong.
right.
Um,
That's what it makes me think of.
yeah.
Um,
So yeah, I did
Harrison.
like how they tried. He's not a sympathetic villain, but you do understand where he's coming from. Um, I do kind of wish these were parallel stories where we learn about Arthur Harrow at the same time we're learning about Stephen Grant,
Mm, hmm.
because I think Arthur Harrow's kind of an interesting, not just from like that very first shot where he pours the glass into his sandals or whatever. Um, but in the second episode, in this episode, he becomes a very powerful presence where you can like you see him summon the jackal towards the middle, and I'm skipping ahead. So we got Layla now,
Hmm. Which is
his wife.
right. And there's Steven,
There's Steven, and there's Mark.
there's Mark, who is, I guess, another. We don't know much about Mark though, right?
But not really. We know he may be a mercenary or some kind of like a Tomb Raider type person.
And he was, for whatever reason, Khonshu,
He was resurrected by Khonshu. It's implied.
and he was resurrected in Oscar Isaac's character, Steven, right?
Okay. Okay, I hadn't thought of that. Like
That's
if Steven never had a problem before, Khonshu may have resurrected Mark into another body.
that's what I'm possibly.
That's a good idea. Okay.
So that was interesting when so you see Oscar Isaac's character playing two personalities. If you were to look,
Yeah.
it would look like he had multiple personalities, like a
Yeah.
personality disorder. And so Steven's looking in the mirror, and Mark's talking back to him in the mirror, and then in episode two, well, I like that dynamic too, by the way, because
Yeah.
Mark is
Oscar
the English, or he's the like more American. He's the American.
he's the American every like action man.
Yeah,
And and Steven's just like, "No, I don't want to be that.
right. I just want to be
I
happy.
just want to be at the gift shop."
And I like that dynamic, and seeing Oscar, I'm glad Mark was introduced because to
You
me,
couldn't stand it if it was just him, right?
right, it's just the Steven guy. No, no.
Yeah.
So that was cool, and so they can actually take over the Steven's body, and they can both. You find out in the episode as well. They can both use the Moon Knight powers that Khonshu.
Right. Yeah. So that's the fun part of the episode is so Layla comes along, she takes the scarab. Um, Arthur Harrow interrogates Stephen. Stephen, of course, has no idea. Stephen is just never knows what's going on. Poor Stephen. I mean, really, poor Stephen.
True.
Um, he has a scarab, and well, Layla has a scarab. Um,
Yeah, so Harrow, we haven't explained this yet. So Harrow has
yeah,
a community in a certain part of the city that was run down, filled with like drugs and crime, and he,
right.
he's there, and he's like a hero in that part of town at this point in the story because of his abilities to just, I guess, control people
Well,
and like,
he's using his influence. He's Ethan Hawke even said he was playing him as a David Koresh type figure, where it's like this is paradise. Everything's free. All you have to do is worship me.
hmm,
Everything, everything you could possibly want. Food, water, sex, home, roof over your head. You can have everything you want. All you have to do is like come and live with me and make sure that you know that I'm in charge.
hmm,
He's got that creepy kind of like imposing vibe to him, and which I think showed pretty strongly when he talks to Steven. Um, how he like shows him into the town, and he's like, yeah, he's like, oh, how are the tomatoes doing? Oh, those are great. And he shows him in. He's like, oh, you want some food? Have the lentil soup. I'm a vegan as well. And they're having soup, and he's like, okay, now let me talk to Mark. Like, does Mark know where the scarab is? And that leads to some pretty like I really want to see like what happened to those like six guys that were surrounding Steven, and they're all just shot in the head. Like I would like to see that action scene.
hmm,
Like
yeah.
I know it's an artistic choice, but I still want to see it.
Yeah, it that was interesting when Arthur Harrow, he's walking Steven through, and he's also letting him know, like, or asking, "Hey, do you hear Conchu?"
Yeah. So how's that conchu? He's just like, here's some lentil soup. It's really good. I made it this morning. And how's that conchu doing, by the way?
Oh, is he telling you something right now? And
Yeah.
he's
Is he
like, "Oh,"
talking to you? He's telling you to kill me?
and Arthur Harrow, he says that he was once the Moon Knight.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, so that was an interesting side to the story. And I couldn't help but think of like Spawn, honestly.
Oh, like Cagliostro?
Yeah,
How he was the previous Spawn? Yeah. It's kind of the same thing. Um,
something
like
similar.
they choose an let's just call them avatars because that's what they call them in the show. They choose an avatar and they're like, "You're gonna act under my will because I can't." And that I thought that was funny because that first scene where after Steven gets abducted and Harrow undoes his restraints or whatever, and Khonshu's like, "Kill him," and Harrow's like, "He's telling you to kill me, right?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Look," and Khonshu like does something but all it does is like blow like a large gust of wind, and Harrow's like, that's all he can do. He can't do anything else in this realm.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
It makes them seem kind of powerless, and it makes Harrow and Steven seem powerful because they can actually affect reality. These guys can just like exist slightly outside of it, by which I mean the gods. I'm assuming Amit is somewhere there. If Khonshu can talk to Steven, then certainly Amit can talk to Harrow, right? And
Mm-hmm.
how um but yeah, so they finally come to the point where uh was it Harrow lifts up his cane and it turns, I'm gonna be a nerd. It turns purple. Now, in the Marvel universe, there are like six colors that you need to be aware of. Because there's, let's go back to the Infinity Stones for a second. There's the Mind Stone, the Time Stone, the Space Stone, the Power Stone, the Soul Stone, and I think I'm missing. Did I hit time? I don't know. But the purple one is the Power Stone, which
Mm.
is used to like. It's in the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. It was shown to destroy planets and civilizations,
Oh.
which begs the question: do these gods abide by the rules of the typical Marvel universe? Um, which is that they're kind of bound. There are rules, but they're also like really bendy rules. So you've got this guy emitting a purple energy, which is the Power Stone, but
Mm.
it's also powered by an Egyptian god. But gods don't exist because of the Celestials, which were introduced in the Eternals. Maybe I shouldn't have gone off on this tangent because it's really confusing.
That's interesting. So I guess what you're saying is from you're thinking of how if this is going to be integrated with the Marvel universe as
Right. Yeah, because it seems like its own little pocket, and I'm okay with that. It
or
doesn't always
Marvel.
need to be. I feel like it has some greater tie to like the bigger Marvel universe, but it's not like enough to plug in like an Eternals character or something, you know.
Let's see. So it may not be directly related to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I guess. That,
Yeah, not necessarily. At least it won't have any effect on it.
okay. Yeah. Yeah, and as these go on, as these shows and movies go on, I think we're going to start to see a disconnect from the rules of the cinematic universe that Marvel
Yeah,
set up thus far. And because it's just there's going to be so many different ideas that
you can't just like water down everybody's ideas to be the same thing.
yeah, yeah. Um,
But also, I forgot what I was going to say.
I I was going to say what I did, forgot to mention this about the first episode, but I did like the little quirks, the English quirks that was written in the show, and Oscar Isaac kind of brought out in the character.
Hmm.
Some of the words he used, like his flat, for instance, was the place where he lived. He said things like I think he said like cheers.
Yeah, or he when he at the beginning of the second episode when he walks into the museum,
Hmm.
he goes to the security guard. He's like, "Bruv, bruv, you're
Yeah.
gonna go absolutely metal when you watch this." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's pretty English."
So I like those little quirks because it did make me feel like I was in another, like, if they were there,
It was
in the
like more authentic, I guess.
Mhm. Yeah, it really lent to that. Um, so that left an impression on me, and I love Ethan Hawke too. So it was he was another reason that I wanted to keep watching too.
Yeah, I think maybe 20 years ago, Ethan Hawke would have been playing this role.
Mm, yeah, yeah, I can see that.
Um, but yeah, what did you think of the final fight, the tussle between the Jackal and the Moon Knight? Because I did like when he fell out the window and he tried to do the 3 point landing and he just fell over.
Oh yeah,
I thought that was adorable. Um,
it was it was all right. For me, I thought it was all right. I didn't.
it wasn't anything spectacular. There
It
were it
but it's
was
nice.
gritty.
Yeah, I noticed that he's very physical, the Moon Knight so far.
Yeah.
When he doesn't seem to pull his punches.
Oh no, yeah. No, he's hitting to kill basically. Um, and then
I,
he's got those moon shards on his chest, which I don't know if he has in the comics or not, but yeah. I thought I think I told you this before that or I told you yesterday that the fight between him and the Jackal reminded me of the scene from Supergirl when she fights the invisible monster. And I like to point out budget things. So I think that was a budget matter. It didn't make the fight more exciting. It just made it seem kind of like what am I looking at here? Because Moon Knight's just kind of bouncing around in the air.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
Uh, what did you think of Mr. Knight, which is what they're calling the suited, like the nice, like he's got the vest, he's got the
It was
sorry.
okay. I thought it was funny, It's
Yeah, because that's Steven's. That's I think that's interesting because that's like Steven taking over Khonshu and saying, "This is how I want to look." He
mm,
wants to look kind of posh. He doesn't want to look like a rugged mummy thing.
oh, I see.
Like maybe Steven wants to look like a gentleman.
Okay. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's gonna be or well, I know we haven't talked about her much, Layla.
oh, Layla, yeah, we got to go back to her.
Um, she she was she was a good character overall so far. She seems to really kick ass. So her and Mark were mercenaries, and she may still be one.
Well, they're like I don't know, mercenary Tomb Raiders.
Hmm. Yeah, so she has these fighting abilities that Mark does as well. So she's kicking ass in the second episode too.
Hmm.
And
And
she,
she knows that he's capable of it because she tells him like when they're surrounded by Harrow and all of his like henchmen, just like summon the title of the episode, summon the suit. It's time. And he's like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. Um, and then that leads to the invisible fighting a jackal type thing, which I'll admit they did a good job of like playing it up. Like we can't see what he sees, he's gazing into like another realm entirely, and he's being attacked by it physically. And those things affect us physically, but we can't see them. So they're not necessarily invisible, but they're not visible. Does that make any sense?
It now confusing because she couldn't see him, right? But
She can see that it's happening.
and she was able to hit one, if you remember that.
Yeah, she did. She threw a bottle at one, and then she also threw like the shard of the bottle at it.
And
And
then
then at one point, it was like picking her up by one foot.
yeah. So I don't know if that was I guess it didn't that seemed to go against what remember what Khonshu could do. So
Yeah,
I guess
like
that
why can't Khonshu do things like that?
right.
I
So
don't know.
um
Poking holes. We're poking holes.
apparently Khonshu wants so we find out that she's married to Mark,
Hmm.
like you said earlier, and Khonshu and Mark wants to get out of all that Moon Knight business, but Khonshu doesn't want him to leave. Apparently, he wants him. It seems like he's saying like he wants him to do one last thing for him, but
It keeps going.
yeah,
Yeah.
and and so he can't really live out his marriage with Layla, and but Khonshu threatens if he does leave that Khonshu would just take Layla as the next Moon Knight.
Right. So Mark is sacrificing himself, but he's also sacrificing Steven,
Mm-hmm.
um, which is unfortunate for Steven. Because at the end of the episode, you see him like pleading. Because at this point, Mark has taken over after the fight with the Jackal. Mark is now in control of the body. And I was trying to find where exactly that scene took place because that was a curious little location. It was like a little like a stage. Do you remember where he kicks the glass into that like pyramid looking thing? He's talking to Steven in the mirror, but he gets pissed off and he's like, "No, stop. I'm not going to let you have
Oh,
control right now."
uh-huh. It's like near that church too, I think.
Yeah, right. It's like in the courtyard of a cathedral or something.
Hmm.
And it's a really good location. It looks nice, but I was curious to see where they filmed that exactly. And I couldn't find it.
Hmm.
Um, but it's I figured in doing that in the secondary personality, I don't know who's the secondary. We don't really know, right? Who the secondary or the primary personality is. We thought it was Steven, but really Mark has been doing all these like mercenary tasks
Right. And got married and everything.
and got married and everything. Um, so I was theorizing. I don't know about you, but I wanted to go back to the mum thing
Hmm.
where he calls his mom and he's like, "Hey, mom, I'm doing all right." And
Hmm.
I'm thinking mum is a third personality.
Oh, really?
Well, like he's even posting up postcards from his mom.
Hmm.
We see in the first episode, and I'm wondering if like Mark getting pissed off and breaking that mirror even more is like a visual representation of, oh God, this third personality is going to come up, isn't it?
That'd
Like
be great.
a further fracturing.
Wow. Yeah, that'd be intense. Uh, yeah. Oh, I didn't think about that. I'm not sure what to think about that.
Yeah, the mom thing's been bothering me since I first heard it because I was like, okay, who's he talking to?
Imagine he's talking to Scarlett.
Scarlett Johansson.
No, Uh, Scarlet Witch.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. That could be another one because we don't really know that much about Doctor Strange at this point.
Oh, dude, and by the end of this show, or wait, so we have 3 episodes so far, right?
Yeah, so there's 3 or 4 more.
So let's see. We got how many? Because we have like 4 weeks until Doctor Strange comes out.
Yeah, so right after this, Doctor Strange hits.
Yeah, it's gotta. I
Being
bet
his tight end.
you. Mm-hmm. Because there's 1, 2, 3. Yeah, there's 3 more until Doctor Strange comes out.
Oh, that'd be perfect.
Um. So yeah. Hmm. Or he's talking to what's her name, the villain in um. Dang it, the other show,
Oh,
the female villain in the other show with Scarlet Witch and
oh, Agatha.
Agatha. Yeah.
Yeah, could be, could be, could be. Yeah, all these. I'm kind of glad that Marvel moved into this direction because they had previously been talking about like after Endgame they're going to move more into space, but I'm glad they're moving more into the mysticism.
Me too.
It's more interesting because in space all you do is shoot lasers, and in
And go.
there's a lot to explore in terms of like mystic beliefs and cults and stuff like that. I think that's fun.
Yeah, it is. I know we were talking about a little bit of that a few days ago, and I like that too. They really we haven't really seen that yet too much. I mean, you got a little bit with Thor, but they almost strayed away from it.
Yeah, it's like they were afraid of it, and now they're embracing it like completely. And it really is it's a fun world to explore, I think, and that's why I've always liked Doctor Strange. Um, it's like he's like the weird corner of the Marvel universe, and I think Moon Knight ties into that. Also, they've been on
Hmm.
he and Doctor Strange have been on teams together in comics. I think in
It's
several issues.
and with the thing with the comics too, and these you know comic books in general, graphic novels, and they explore these different ideas of right and wrong and justice and um, revenge and um,
But also like looking at it, they look at it from like different lenses. So you're looking at justice from, let's just like Batman. All right. So justice to him is like you're evading the law, you're wrong, I'm gonna get you.
mhm. And he would actually he kill in the beginning ones beginning.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he shot a gun.
Okay. Yeah, and now I mean with the
Now
mainstream.
he's a little more, they've kind of streamlined his ethics a little more. But
Yeah.
if you look at stuff like that, like I am justice, I am gonna get you if you do wrong. And then
Hmm.
you look at Moon Knight and he's like, I am justice, I'm gonna get you if you do wrong, but in a weird way.
And then you look at Ethan Hawke's character, the antagonist. He's like, in his eyes, he's justice, but he's gonna get you before you do wrong,
Yeah, before you do wrong.
before you cause
Yeah.
harm, essentially.
Before you've even conjured the thought of doing harm.
Yeah, that too. And screw up with his world.
Yeah, you're dead.
You're gonna face him, yeah, and die. So that's cool. I like that. I like those. Those are two opposing forces and viewpoints that go, head to head, and just exploring that for a little bit in the show like this, or in the comic, or whatever, in these stories. It's It's really great. It's refreshing to see something like you said, a little deeper, not so much cookie
Yeah,
cutter.
something more spiritual,
Mm-hmm.
not just like two robots hitting each other, you know.
And it's out of the Disney, kind of format of doing their movies.
Yeah,
It breaks that mold.
yeah, definitely. No, it's I think thus far it's been a pretty, I think also visually engaging show. I think it's because I've watched, you haven't watched all the Marvel series, right?
Um,
'Cause I know you saw WandaVision.
yeah, I haven't finished Loki yet. That's the only one I haven't finished.
Loki's the one, that's the one I wanted to point out actually as a counterpoint to this one. Because Loki, although I love the Loki series, but it lacks like a visual flair. And I feel like it's 10 times more interesting to watch.
It's a good point. Yeah, it is. It is like the
Um
photography is really well done.
yeah, especially when he's like when he comes back from like when he in the first episode when he comes back from when he finishes his date that he didn't have. Um uh that whole thing where he seemingly hallucinates Khonshu coming after him in the apartment. I thought that was shot very like a horror movie. Like
Mm.
it was very, I don't know, something about it just seemed very jaunting and like it had an energy to it. It wasn't just shoot this scene, pay attention to the dialogue only.
And what hurt that was the bad CG
Yeah,
effects.
I think Khonshu looks okay when he stands still.
Yeah, he actually does. He looks scary.
Yeah, he does. He's a pretty creepy character.
And it's kind of surprising to find out that he's actually the protagonist, and it seems like in this.
I think that's what's gonna happen though. If we can move on to like conjecture, because we haven't watched the third episode yet.
Right.
Um, I think I don't know. I kind of feel like Khonshu is gonna get pushed out, and Harrow's gonna get pushed out, and it's gonna be a matter of like Moon Knight deciding on his own to uphold like his own morals and ethics.
I see. Yeah, that sounds right. I think you're right.
I think he's gonna reject Khonshu, but he's gonna take all of his powers anyway.
Possibly, I could see that happening. The only thing is, and I don't know much about it, and like you said, who knows where this is gonna go, but he may need Kanchu for all we know,
True.
unless
Yeah.
there's some artifact like the scarab or something that allows him to not need Kanchu anymore to be Moon Knight. But because it seems like Kanchu can take that power away if he wants.
Yeah. That was the threat
Uh,
that he gave to Mark, right? He was
Yeah,
like, "I can. You are nothing but a corpse,"
that's right.
and
Yeah,
that's we haven't seen the origin yet. I think it's going to come up in a flashback.
yeah,
Um,
true. Yeah,
um, in the comic that I did read, that was the reboot. Um, yeah, he comes back and he's like, he feels like $1 million, and he's like, "Oh, I'm so glad to be rid of Khonshu, that horrible god. Oh, I'm so glad to be a normal man." And then he gets dragged back in. But I'd like to see Khonshu as not a burden and not an obligation. I'd rather see Stephen or Mark or together. Um, I'd like to see them decide, to do good or to prevent evil or bad.
Mm-hmm.
Evil's a strong word.
Yeah, I think I wish it would go there, but yeah, like with the whole modern thing, it doesn't. Or even with the multiple gods, it blurs the line. Like it's like, well, because essentially, I think with the Egyptian gods, it's kind of like the Greek gods. Like they all play their part, right? And they're all a little gray sometimes. Um, but there is no like absolute good. It's just kind of
Yeah, it's just kind of like who's more favorable,
yeah, yeah.
what suits a situation. And it's not, and it's hard to say like what's good or bad in that case.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting though. The second episode is interesting, and I think it's going to be interesting to see where it goes. Um, yeah, I would if we do see. It's going to be hard, I think, getting. I guess it makes me think of
What's up?
because this is a good direction. I think it's just going to be hard to have that like in the beginning Marvel Cinematic Universe years,
Oh yeah, it's never gonna be the same.
where you did. I mean, you essentially did have the absolutes, right? Like
Hmm.
you had Captain America, you had Red Skull, you know.
Right. Yeah. Or you had Iron Man who was like right in the middle, and then he kind of like tilted towards like maybe I shouldn't sell weapons.
Hmm.
And then you had Thor who was like maybe I shouldn't be so self-centered.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
And
or go ahead.
no, I was gonna say it's an unusual perspective to have from a protagonist in a story where they have different personalities, they have different wants. If they introduce a third personality, I think it could be problematic for the story, especially this far into it. But it would also be appropriate because
Yeah.
so it's hard to say. Like,
Interesting stuff. I think we'll see we'll see how it holds up in these next few episodes. I was thinking the third personality. This would probably be
what would it be? Like just an absolute sociopath?
the thing is that I don't know if you want to put this in the podcast or not. We don't have to, but
No, I don't care.
it's pretty controversial at this point in time. But on the interwebs.
Hmm.
But
I don't think they're gonna do that.
yeah,
I don't think they'll do that. That's too much.
I think it'd be way too much too. I don't know. Uh, But yeah, with Disney and stuff, I guess I wouldn't put it past them to completely go over the top like that. But that's why it popped into my mind. They may or may not.
I mean, they could
They
is
could
the thing.
they could yeah. That's what I'm trying to say too.
It's possible.
You
I
don't
don't think I
you
don't
don't
think they'll take it that silly. I think it's already gone too silly.
yeah.
They've already done like gonna get to where it's the scene where Jim Carrey's beating himself up in the bathroom in Liar Liar.
Oh yeah, that was a great scene.
It's gonna end up there.
They do need to do some comedy bits like that, actually. I think that would be nice to see.
Yeah, something a little lighter.
Mhm. Um, the you know, but what may end up happening too is that Steven and Mark may grow, you know, to be, a little more maybe understanding of each other,
Yeah, if
or
they could be more cohesive,
to where
that
they
would be. See, I was gonna say too. It's kind of like a buddy cop comedy.
yeah, it can be right now. Yeah, it's like the beginnings of it for sure.
Yeah.
Because they're very they don't like each other. Right.
No, they don't. They don't like each other. They don't like. Uh, they completely disagree, and they've already broken up as of the end of episode 2. Because now Steven's stuck
In the mirror.
in the mirror. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious to learn more about the wife. I like this is one of the female characters that I'm liking from Disney that I feel like,
She's got some balls.
yeah, and then she's she's kicking ass a little too hard right now, but at least she has a background as a mercenary, or like a Tomb Raider or whatever, and she actually looks she she looks she looks
Normal.
she looks good, and she looks a little like she can hurt you if you wanted to.
Yeah, yeah. She looks. No, yeah. She's a very pretty lady, but yeah, she could kick your ass. I wouldn't want to make her mad.
Yeah. So, and then she's a good actress as well. Um she played her role really well. She's like, 'cause she's torn about it too. Apparently, she didn't know about the multiple. She didn't know about Steve.
Yeah. So that makes me wonder too. That's a whole other thing. Is he didn't have this disorder before, and
Mm,
she said it's been months since she's been trying to reach him. So what happened in those months that caused him to have this break in his personality?
good point. So you're saying maybe Steven really he
He
thinks he's been alive basically for so long, but
really it was Mark, and Mark's the main personality.
and Steven has just been inhabiting that body, I guess, for a,
Yeah. Well, keep in mind too, he tells her, he's like, this is my mom's flat. Whose mom?
yeah.
Like, where is his mom? She keeps sending him postcards. That's why I'm saying I think it's him. I think it's just another personality.
Man, strange.
It's a fucking rabbit hole.
Well, it makes me want to see episode 3. I haven't seen.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we got to watch it. Um, at least before next Wednesday.
Yeah, I'll watch it. I'll probably watch it this weekend.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm gonna watch it probably later today. Um, but yeah, it does beg. There's so many mysteries. It's more it's for me. It's the most interesting Disney Marvel show that has come out because of so many like nuggets, and I don't know anything about this character. Like, please tell me. But it's exciting, and it's we got him in full like Moon Knight garb finally.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, let's look forward to the next episode. And
I do like the his suit, by the way, too. I think it looks cool.
which one, Mr. Knight or Moon Knight?
Moon Knight. Moon Knight. I
Yeah,
do like. Mr. Knight looked nice. I mean,
I like how he was like, you actually look quite good.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a
But
nice suit.
and everything. I thought, yeah, it's a good look. He definitely has that, that nighttime. You know, what's it called? Like a nighttime crime fighter.
Yeah, there's actually something from the comics I think that I've read, not directly from the comics, but you know, that he prefers to wear white so that whoever, whatever criminal can see him coming, because by the time they see him, it's too late.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's like kind of badass.
Yeah,
But yeah, so are you into it, or what do you think? Make or break?
I'm into it. I think it's so far. I think it's worth checking out. Definitely gotta. And it's the thing with shows too. You always gotta sit through the intro first
Yeah,
episode sometimes, and sometimes 3 episodes of intro. But once you get through those, it seems like the story gets going. And this one definitely the second episode gets the story going. Um, and yeah, it's pretty good. I think, like you said too, it's something. I agree with you. It is it is definitely interesting. It breaks the mold of the other superhero stuff they've done so far, and I like that too. It's good.
I agree. I think it's a pretty good model for future series instead of just starting from the beginning. Just I think it's uh I think it's a thoughtful premise, and I think the effects kind of suck,
Yeah, yeah, me too.
but that's fine. It's TV. Please watch Moon Knight Wednesdays on Disney Plus, or don't. You can just not watch it. So thank you for tuning in to Film Juice. We have been here talking about Moon Knight. We're going to be back talking about more Moon Knight after we watch episode 3. We're giving you a big hug, and thank you for listening.